Managing a small team or business comes with a unique set of challenges. With limited resources and manpower, it's easy for things to feel chaotic and out of your control. How can you, as a leader, accomplish your goals while keeping your team engaged, effective, and accountable? This podcast will give you practical strategies you can implement now to lead your team or business to reach its fullest potential. Welcome to the Organizing Chaos podcast with your host, Danny Coleman.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Organizing Chaos, where we talk about small practical strategies for small teams and small businesses. So today, I am continuing my 8-part series on the Organizing Chaos process, which is the process that I use when I consult with small businesses and their owners, and as well as with management, when I'm helping management as well. We look at this process, and this process is what you need to be able to bring the authority and responsibility and accountability that you're looking for in your business. So that way you get dependable results, or consistent results rather, and you can depend on the structure of your business to keep running even when you're not babysitting it. So this is step 2 in my 8-part phase. I may end up combining a couple steps together, so it may not be completely 8 episodes, but you get what I'm saying. And so without further ado, or rather, if you haven't listened to episode 1 already, I really encourage you to start there, because how I go through this really all plays on, every step plays on what we did in the previous step. So if you haven't listened to episode 1 already, please listen to it. It's step 1 is mindset. And so we've already gotten clear on mindset. And now here it is, this is where we step into phase 2, right? So we've worked on mindset. We've gotten clear on what it is you're trying to do with the business, what your relationship with the business is supposed to look like, and how your time should be being spent as far as on a day-to-day basis, how you would like for it to be spent in your ideal schedule or your perfect day. So to continue on with that, step 2 is keep versus delegate, right? So now we're going to be thinking about, all right, so what all has to happen in the business, and what are the things that you will do versus what are the things that other people will do, whether those be other managers or other staff members, what all needs to happen and who all is going to get it done. So the first thing that we do is have a fantastic whiteboard session. And again, like I said in episode 1, you can do this whole process yourself as well. This is not something that you need someone to be with you to do. It does bring a lot more accountability and guidance when you do have someone else helping you. But you can use this process on your own to get some clarity in your business. And so hopefully you can do some of that if you're following along at home. But the first thing you want to do is lay it all out. We have a fantastic whiteboard session whenever I'm consulting, where we take everything that needs to happen in your business and we get it all spread out on a board. And once we figure out what all needs to happen, it's then about figuring out, okay, what needs to stay versus what maybe might be missing, etc. So we kind of get a good rough idea on what all needs to take place in order for the business to do what your business promises to do, whether that's delivering a service or delivering a product or products, or both. That's what we got to get all laid out on a whiteboard. So there's not really a whole lot to talk about when I'm talking to you, because this is personal. This is going to be custom for every business. That said, I will say that while we're looking at these different types of responsibilities, one thing that I do is I categorize these responsibilities into 3 different classifications in terms of who is the type of person who should be executing this task. In the ideal scenario, right? So if you've not ever read the EMyth before by Michael Gerber, I highly, highly recommend it. It is 50% of what I kind of base all of my business philosophy on, if you will. A lot of books have influenced me, but basically I can boil it down to 2 books, which is the EMyth by Michael Gerber, and then the Rocket Fuel by Mark C. Winters and Gino Wickman. Those 2 books, if you've not read them already, you should. But referencing the EMyth, the EMyth divides things into responsibilities that an entrepreneur is going to do, typically the business owner, a manager, or a technician, right? So once we get all these different responsibilities out on your board, who should be doing this? So entrepreneur is you, right? Those are the things that only uniquely you should be doing. This usually has to do with strategy type work, either new product development, sales, leading your sales team, or being the salesperson, for your team, being out there, being the lightning rod that attracts new business. And then your managers and technicians are who comprise the rest of your business, more or less, to then make sure this is the machine that delivers what you are promising to people, whether that be through your brand or through your actual actions. If you actually act as a salesperson on your for your company. But that's typically kind of the first thing I look at. What does the entrepreneur need to be doing? This needs to be as little as possible. So little as possible needs to go under the entrepreneur's space, because the entrepreneur is doing stuff that only uniquely them can do. Managers and technicians are a little bit more interchangeable, and that's not to say they're less important. That's not at all true. Everybody in this organization needs everybody. Entrepreneurs need managers and technicians, and everybody needs each other out of those three categories. But the entrepreneur needs to be doing as little busy work or machine work as possible. One, because it's not where they thrive. It's not what excites them the most. And two, because the stuff that's that they're uniquely able or capable of taking care of, they should definitely be only doing those things, if at all possible. And that's not always possible, but that's what the goal needs to be. That's what you need to shoot for. So that's the entrepreneur. Next, you're looking at management type work. So where is the work that needs to happen where someone's managing other people, right? Other people, when I say other people, I typically mean technicians, but sometimes that may mean, lower level management and then technicians there. And again, this all might help a little bit if you've read the book EMyth. I don't want to completely unpack that book in this episode, but suffice it to say that managers are people who don't like monotonous tasks, but are good at getting people organized around an objective to get it accomplished. And then technicians typically are much more okay with what some might consider monotonous tasks. They like lists. They like to just execute. They aren't particularly great at getting results through other people, which is hard. It's hard to get results through other people. So that's just a kind of a very quick, sloppy definition of managers and technicians. But again, I really recommend you read that book so you get a better grasp on the way that I'm using those terms. But so we're just to remind you, we're going through all the different responsibilities that we have in your business. We've already figured out what the entrepreneur is doing. Now the manager is doing the stuff that needs to, like I said, it needs someone's at the top of maybe multiple people. So let's just say maybe your sales team, right? You don't have one person responsible for the sales team's performance. If you don't already have one person responsible for sales team's performance, you should. That will consolidate things if you have more than one salesperson. There's a lot of examples I could jump into, but I really just kind of want to focus on making sure that managers are doing manager type work. They're not doing technician type work. Technician type work is, like I said, that's more where that's data entry. That is, the stuff basically that runs your business. The actual work, the ground level work that keeps things moving forwards. That's your technician work. These are the people who go out in the field. These are your baristas. These are your stylists. These are your landscapers. These are your your field technicians. These are the people who are getting the work done. Those are your technicians. And management is making sure that those people are organized and are provided the resources that they need so that they can do their work properly. So all that to say, when we're taking all of the different things that need to happen in your business, these are the three different buckets we want to throw stuff into. And we just do the best we can. You're not going to get it perfect. We're not going to get it the first time around. But think of your business like software. You update it every so often, every quarter or every year. And every version gets better and better, but you got to you have to use a certain system in order to do that. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself going in too many different directions. So we've got all that covered. Sorry, that was a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but hopefully that makes sense. We're getting everything out. We're sorting it out into buckets, so that way we know who needs to be doing what type of work in your business. The next thing is you need to create a stop doing list. Now, this is going to further help you look at the work that you're doing as the leader, as the entrepreneur in the business, or again, as the manager, if we're talking about small teams, the stuff that only uniquely you can do. So when you you should have a list of all the stuff that you do throughout a day. And every time that you run into something where you're like, hey, you know what? I bet you someone else could do this. Someone else is probably capable. Don't think to yourself, oh, does someone else want it? Or would someone else do this? Oh man, I hate it. I bet so-and-so would hate it too. That's not what you need to think about. You just need to think about one, do you hate this? Do you hate doing this? Are you not good at it? Or does it frustrate you? Or does it take away from you doing something that only uniquely you can do elsewhere in the business? So that's what you need to create as a stop doing list. And then what we do with that stop doing list is we figure out, again, what other buckets does that go into? Is this a management type or a manager type work, or is this technician type work? And then we take that responsibility off your plate and get it into the hands of either a manager or technician on your team. So again, these first 2 steps are really all about figuring out who should be doing what in your business. And this is where we make a lot of progress as far as untangling what's going on in your business. Because again, as your business has grown from day one to where it's at now, every time something new happened, someone just had to handle it. That's the beauty of small business as far as its ability to be flexible and pivot and whatnot. But that's also small business's biggest Achilles heel, is that when everybody's responsible for something, no one's responsible for something. And so you will lack accountability and accountability and, why am I missing the other word? Consistency. That's it. You're going to be lacking those 2 things if you have multiple people responsible for the same results. So that's why we're getting all this stuff sorted out in the first 2 steps. The last one is step 3, and this plays a little bit more towards what your mindset is, which is valuing your time. So when you're thinking about scaling your business, or we get all these things sorted out, and you realize how much stuff you're doing that you shouldn't be doing as the entrepreneur or leader in your business, your team. It's what's difficult oftentimes is people will think, well, I can't afford someone else to do X, Y, and Z. And that may be true. I understand that payroll and marketing are both the biggest things in the business. And so payroll is something you don't want to look to expand because that's, it's going to put more of a strain overhead on your business. I totally understand that. But you also have to think to yourself about what is the value of your time. Remember what we did in step 1, which was figure out how you want to spend your time. What is the value of your time? A lot of small business owners make the mistake of thinking that as a small business owner, when they do something in the business, it's basically like they're getting to do it for free. That's not right. That is wrong. You are essentially the most highest paid person in your business, even if you're not really drawing a salary right now. If you're not the highest paid, you're the most valuable person in your business. That might sound conceited, but that's how this is your organization. You own it. If you died, most times your business can't just pick up and take off without you. So you have to understand the value of your time, not only for the sake of the business, but for your own sake. And really your own sake should come first. And again, some of these things kind of sound conceited, but really if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody. You can't take care of your family. You can't take care of your team properly. So you do have to focus on yourself in terms of understanding what it is that you enjoy doing and how do you want your time to be spent. When you play to those things, you will find other people out there in the world who will come and do the other stuff that you don't want to do or that you're not very good at. So don't think about getting stuff off of your plate or having someone else do it as something conceited or like, oh man, if I hate this, wouldn't they hate that? No, don't make that assumption. You ask, hey, I'm really trying to get rid of doing, payroll. Do you think that's something that you could take on? Give people the opportunity to not only have more responsibility in your business, which helps develop them more as an employee, but also it gives them an opportunity to make more money. If you're going to pay someone else $12 an hour to do something that takes you maybe 2 hours a week, so you're paying $24 to have this task handled. Like if it allows you to move more into your zone of genius or the thing that only you can uniquely do in your business, or it makes you happier, isn't that $24 worth it? You're willing to spend $24 going out to dinner at a nice place. So why would you not be just as willing to trade that money in your business in order for you to, again, be happier, which then trickles down to everybody being happier in the business. Just like when mom was angry, or it was when mom was upset about something, like everybody in the house was upset about it. So if you're not happy, if you're not being fulfilled, it's going to trickle down and everybody else is going to feel the same way. So value your time. Think about it in a monetary sense. Maybe that might help you. If you're like, whoa, yeah, I guess when you break it down, I make $150 an hour and so only makes 12 or something like that. Or even if you're not really paying yourself properly or paying yourself at all, then you still need to value your time in the terms of I'm the person who can uniquely do only these things, these A, B, and C things. So I need to make sure that I don't have this other stuff on my plate so that I can do A, B, and C very well and give it the full focus and attention that I need to. That's the only way your business is going to grow and the only way that you're going to be fulfilled by your business and for that business to take you where you want it to. So hope that this was helpful and I hope that this was not overly complicated. I am working on some worksheets that will help clarify this because I believe in this very strongly. Like I said, this is what I do when I consult with people, but I believe in it so strongly that I do want to I want anyone who wants to do this on their own to give that a go. And I would love to answer any kind of questions that you have while you're working through this. Again, I don't have these worksheets available at the time of this recording, but they are in the works right now, so hopefully they'll be available soon. But you can email me if you have any questions, Danny@DannyColeman.me. If you have any kind of topics that you would like for me to unpack on the podcast, I'd be happy to do that. And then if you're interested in being on my podcast, I would be happy to interview you if you have something to share of value with small businesses. And so, yeah, hope you guys are doing well. Again, number or my phone, my email is Danny@DannyColeman.me. We're not going to get my phone number out on this podcast. But you can also follow me on Instagram if you'd like to have a more personal look at my life. @IamDannyColeman is how you can find me. Hope y'all are doing well and you have an awesome rest of your day. Thanks.
Want more? Go to DannyColeman.me to download Danny's free small business hiring guide, which includes tips, templates, and tools, plus a step-by-step process you can use to find and keep high-quality employees for your small team or business.